Do you remember the song Telephone Man? I rented my apartment on a Monday at 1, singing do-la-di-la-di, shaky bum. That one? Well, it was put out by SRO Records. Back in the mid-'80s, Terry Rose, the owner of SRO Records, wanted to re-release that song. But the woman who had originally recorded it had gotten real religious and wasn't willing to have her name associated with that song anymore. So they hired me to sing that song. And they also put out an album. So I did a bunch of songs. Now, it was called Two Sides, The Two Sides of Hyapatia, and it was recorded in Tennessee. So one side of it is comedy, like Telephone Man, Dick the DJ, Peter the Meter Reader, things like that. And the other side is country, like Midnight in Memphis. So I got an opportunity to sing several different styles. Unfortunately, I was sick during the time of recording, so I personally don't feel like I did my best performance, but it was a very good experience. I learned a lot. At the time, I didn't know how to write songs. I had always wanted to write music. Violin was my first instrument. I started that when I was 9. I later took up piano. So I was well versed. I knew how to play guitar. I knew music. I could read music, which is, I found out, a lot more than most studio musicians. Surprise to me, most popular musicians don't know how to read music. I was shocked to find that out. Anywho, at the time, I didn't know how to write a song. But as time went on, I learned, I looked things up, I talked with people, I took a few classes, I learned how to write music, and I learned how to put lyrics to music. So I had composed a slew of songs, some good, some not so good, you know how it goes. But I wanted to get a band together and try this material out in public. Knowing as much as I did know about music was still very limiting because I didn't have a drum kit. I didn't know how to play drums. I didn't have a bass. I didn't have a recording studio. Nowadays, you can have a recording studio in your house. It's very inexpensive and definitely a viable option for people like me. But back in the 80s, it wasn't the case. Things were not digital. Everything was analog. So I put together a band in Los Angeles to bring my music to life. And so I could play out on the circuit. One thing led to another, and we ended up cutting an album. I had some really good musicians working for me. Chuck Kavooras, who is well known for his band, Chuck and the All-Stars, where he has people like Teddy Zigzag from Guns N' Roses, occasionally even Slash will sit in with him. Steve Lukather from Toto was my guitarist for a while. I had some wonderful musicians helping me out. And we toured a little bit. We toured around Southern California. We went to Utah. We opened for Paul Rogers in Las Vegas. He was very respectful and nice to me. Opened for Ricky Medlock with Blackfoot. That was in Utah. And we did a radio station interview, Ricky and I, to promote the show before that evening's performance. And someone had called in and said that they were going to be picketing the show because I was on the ticket. They were going by my old career, and they just assumed that I would be doing something of an adult nature on stage. Well, Ricky had seen my show before. I had opened for him before in another venue, and he said, "There's nothing worth picketing. This is just rock and roll. It's just good old-fashioned rock and roll. Nothing obscene about this." So he stood up for me. He even went so far as to say that if they were picketing it, he would not play. So hats off to Ricky Medlock. God, I love that man. Wonderful man. And then we opened for the Scorpions back east. Now, I had several gigs back east that, they wanted my band to play, but everybody was based in Los Angeles. And the money they were offering, it wasn't enough to drive across country or fly everyone back there. So I was based out of Indiana, although I did often spend time in LA. I put together a band in Indiana so that I could do those gigs. And that's where we opened for the Scorpions. So I had a very marvelous time with both bands, and eventually ended up marrying and divorcing my guitar player with the band in Indiana. But we did cut another album, so I have 2 albums out, and soon I'll be doing some more videos for some of the music that's on those albums. I've been doing a lot of music videos for my friend Jerry and his music for his bands. And I have some of my music out there on some music videos on my channel, but I'll get some more out soon.